Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is my review of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Now, I didn't see the Mad Max films in the right order. I saw Mad Max, then Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and for a long time after that I thought there were just two Mad Max films, because there's no number at the end of the title of this one, yeah. And then afterwards I found out, no, there's a Mad Max 2, so that's a total of 3 Mad Max films, yeah. And yeah, I think Mad Max works better in the desert, yeah. This post-apocalyptic world where most of the planet is nothing but desert everywhere, yeah. There's been a big nuclear disaster, yeah. Anyway, I think my favourite one ever is the second one. My second favourite is the fourth one, and then my third favourite is the third one. And I think they're all good. They're all good, just in different ways, yeah. And I assumed, naturally enough, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was a blockbuster like the second one. I did my research and found out no, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was not successful. It is regarded by most Mad Max fans as the weakest one of the films. Yeah, they didn't like it. Oh, well, what's wrong with it? I thought the third one was fine. You know, it was brilliant. It perfectly captures, this post-apocalyptic society, their clothes made of odds and ends, the really cool desert buggies made of bits and bobs, So yes, it feels like a Mad Max film, yeah. What is it that they didn't like about it? Well, I did my research. One of the things they didn't like was the violence. The level of violence is toned down much too much to make it more like a 12A certificate, Well, it is toned down, yes, but it's still pretty violent. It's still pretty brutal. Okay, we don't actually physically see graphic violence, but there is a threat of violence. Someone trying to attack you with a wooden bat with spikes in it, or someone trying to attack you with a chainsaw. We don't actually see people get killed, but I'm sure they do get killed, just off screen, yeah. The other thing fans didn't like was the Peter Pan-like bit with all these kids, like the Lost Boys or something. But no, that didn't bother me. I thought that was fine. It's to make it a bit different from the second one. We can't have a carbon copy of the second one. And also, the reason they're children in that scene is because children represent the future. We must pass on our skills to the next generation if humanity is to have a future at all. That's the significance of them, yeah. All the children sing, we don't need another hero. Another reason some fans don't like the third one is, well, was there any need for a third one? The second one, that was supposed to be the last one, yeah. But because it was such a blockbuster, that's why they made a third one, yeah, to make more money, yes. There was no escaping. You couldn't get away from the success of the second one. You can run, but you can't hide, yeah. Okay, so I'll say why I like the third one, okay. Well, in the opening sequence, I thought it was a bit of a shame that we didn't have the cool Interceptor car, but it was destroyed in the second one, so yes, instead of this ultra-fast, high-octane chasing vehicle, in the opening sequence, Mad Max has like a big car that doesn't have any fuel at all. Instead, it's pulled by camels. You're not going to have a high-speed chase of that, then. No. So Mad Max has limited resources in this one, yeah. And then, what you think is the gyro captain robs him. It's not the gyro captain. It's the exact same actor who plays a very similar character, but no, he's technically a different character who doesn't know Max, and that's why he robs him. But if this character is so similar, why didn't they just bring the gyro captain back? Oh, they couldn't bring him back because he became the new leader of the society in the previous one. That's why, yeah. He's not a wanderer anymore. Yeah, that's why, yeah. But it does get confusing having the same actor playing a different character, yeah. Anyway, the gyro captain, or the man of the sky, whatever you like to call him, the similar character robs Mad Max, and instead of a helicopter, he has an aeroplane. And so, naturally enough, Mad Max wants his stuff back, so he goes to Bartertown. Now, in the second one, pretty much everyone's given up on humanity. All humans are just like scavengers and thieves. But in this one, Bartertown, it's the next step in the franchise is an attempt to rebuild society, rebuild a civilization. So that makes sense, yes. And Bartertown is civilized, although civilized is a loose term, yeah. They do have rules. You can't just do whatever you like any time, no. And they do have consequences for breaking the laws, yeah. But at the same time, it's very harsh, If you do the slightest thing wrong, you either get a life sentence or you get sentenced to death. Oh, this is supposed to be civilized, but yes. there's still parts of their vicious, aggressive nature in there, yeah. So they're not quite civilized, not quite yet, yeah. And Tina Turner plays the leader of Barstown. Well, actually, technically, she's not originally the leader. No, Master Blaster is the leader first. Then she replaces him as leader. Anyway, Auntie, or Auntie Entity, is played by Tina Turner. And I've always had mixed feelings about this choice. Tina Turner is a brilliant singer, don't get me wrong. Proper trained singer. But she was not a proper trained actress, you know, so why is she in a movie at all? Well, she was in the movie for two reasons. Because in the mid-1980s, the popularity of Tina Turner was so big. And also, because to sell the soundtrack. Yes, Tina Turner sings a lot of the songs on the soundtrack. So, yes, but even so, in spite of this, what I've said, she does do a half-decent job, considering her lack of acting experience, yeah. But she's American. She's this all-American lady. And everyone else is Australian. Why would she have an American accent living with them for so long? Yeah, yeah. Anyway, Mad Max wants his possessions back, and they're in Bartertown. Wouldn't they have a new owner by now if they've been swapped for something? Well, anyway, he doesn't have anything to trade with, but he does have skills, fighting skills, yeah. And Auntie puts this to her advantage. She goes, all right then, you have to fight Blaster to the death. Master Blaster technically are two different entities. A huge, big, strong man with no brains, and a very small dwarf man that's really intelligent, yeah. And if Blaster is killed, then Master will be helpless. He won't have him to help him anymore, yeah. And Max agrees to it. They go in this big arena called the Thunderdome. And he survives the battle, hence the title of the film, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. They have a big battle, a fight to the death, but at the last minute, Max loses his bottle. He could have killed Blaster if he wanted to, but he drops his weapon and doesn't kill him, yeah. And, this makes Auntie very angry and says, you've broken your promise. If you bust the deal, you face the wheel. So he's given a random punishment. He's put on a horse, sent way out into the desert. When I say desert, I mean the desert. No people, no civilization anywhere. He's totally helpless, yeah. And, okay, a bit of a nitpick here. Master, the dwarf, he is a good character, yes. And we see a bit of the innovative language, you know. No trade, do. Me, master, say louder. You know, they talk in a bit of a strange way. And the lost children, the gatherers I think they're called, they talk in a bit of a strange way. We knows the tale, we got to do this, we finded him, you know. Because it's set in the future. To make you feel like you're in this other strange land, you know, naturally enough, the way people talk, their jargon and terms do change. Max himself doesn't care too much for expressions or different terms. No, he just talks very plainly and directly to the point, yeah. But no, all the strange odds and ends in the desert, it's a bit like being inside a dream or something. There is an otherworldly quality about Mad Max 3. Except, of course, it's not in another world. It looks like it is, but it isn't. It's in our world. So it's a frightening image of what our world could become. Yes, how low humanity could sink, yeah. Anyway, the master, the little guy, apparently he's incredibly intelligent, right? But we don't actually physically see him make anything. We see the fruits of his work, how Bartertown has evolved and developed, but we don't physically see him make anything, you know. We just see stuff that he's done in the past. We don't see him put his money where his mouth is. Why don't we ever physically see him make something? If he's so intelligent, why don't we see him build a high-tech gadget or really advanced technology? No, we don't see that. So we don't know why he's such a big deal, why everyone wants him, yeah. Anyway, Max banished to the desert, and then the movie takes a very different turn, yes. He's founded by Savannah Nix, who's like the leader of the gatherers, the lost people. And she thinks he's Captain Walker, which is like a kind of messiah in their culture. She takes him to their place, and this that I found quite interesting. There's been a nuclear war, right? The entire planet is nothing but desert everywhere. And that's why some of the water has fallout in it, yeah. Anyway, so they have to all live like scavengers. However, there is a certain place in the world where there's a crack in the ground. Well, I say crack in the ground. It's like a massive giant gorge, yeah. And through this gorge, there's like a river. And there's a place where the land is fertile and plants can grow and everything. It's like another little world. It's like a paradise, yeah. Because when the nuclear war happened, the nuclear bit went over that, and it skimmed over the surface of the ground, but didn't go under the ground. That bit there. That's why that bit is unaffected by the nuclear fallout. So in other words, it's like an oasis, a paradise in the middle of a desert planet. Yeah. Anyway, when Max gets there, he's not Captain Walker. He's not who they think he is, but he hears them out, and they explain they have like this. They're mostly children. Yeah. So that's why they can't remember what life was like before the nuclear disaster happened. And Max and they're waiting for Captain Walker to make an aeroplane fly and take them back to Tomorrowland, the promised land, if you like. Yeah. And Max hears them out, and then he says he sees the photographs of cities and aeroplanes, and he said, "Yes, you're absolutely right. There used to be places like this called cities. There used to be flying machines. Then the big apocalypse thing happened, and it's all just gone. It's just not there anymore. There is no Tomorrowland." And half the tribe believe him, but the other half don't. I mean, you can't expect them to give up their religion just like that, yeah. But when he goes to the aeroplane and they see he clearly can't make it fly, and then, well, basically Max gives this speech to them. He says, "I say there's no Tomorrowland. And I know what I'm talking about. I've explored all over the world. There's nothing out there. There's nothing but desert. But I say we stay here. We stay here and we will be thankful. This is paradise. I've never seen a place so beautiful. Lots of nice fresh water, good food that grows. This is paradise. You're looking for paradise, but you're already there. Whether you realise it or not, you're in paradise now." So I thought that raised some interesting issues. Yes, it's human nature to want a better life, a better land, a better future. But sometimes you can be in paradise and not know it, yeah. In spite of all this, about Savannah Nix and about 10 or 20 of the children ignore Max and go off looking for Tomorrowland. So, even though you could say they're not his responsibility, but Max nevertheless does the decent thing and decides to go and rescue them, Because if the desert doesn't swallow you up, that horrible hellhole Bartertown sure will, yeah. Anyway, he goes to them, he finds them when they're very near Bartertown. They want to go to Bartertown, get the little man called the Master, because he's the great knowledgeable one, yeah, who can help them rebuild society, and then find Tomorrowland. Wait a minute, why do they want to get the little man to find Tomorrowland? I thought we've just established that there is no Tomorrowland, there's no such thing, so what's the point of getting the little man? Yes, that could have been explained a little bit better, yeah. Anyway, nevertheless, they go to get the little man, and while they're at it, they save the pig killer, who's on their side, he wants his freedom. So they kidnap the little man. Well, I say kidnap him, he comes with them willingly, he hates being there, because he's not leader anymore, that's why, yeah, Auntie is the leader there now. They take the little man, they escape on a train. Well, I say train, it's like different pieces of cars joined together, but it does move along on a railway track. So they zoom off on that. Auntie gathers her people and says, "Go, get the little man back, and you'll have great rewards. Show no mercy." So they all chase after the train in their really cool desert buggies, yeah. So yes, because of the success of the second one, we've got to have an epic chase battle at the end of the film, yeah. Only it's not about fighting for oil this time, no, it's about fighting for the little man. Well, presumably he can make any gadget you want to make your society better, yeah, so the fighting is for knowledge, yes. And there's a bit when the two children have like that old record player, and they're calling into it, thinking it's a radio, they can't make it work. And Max, yeah, the search for knowledge, basically, they're ignorant. Max knows what it is, he's seen a record player before, and he makes it work properly for them, yeah. Anyway, yes, it was a great action sequences, yes, brilliant fight choreography, very well done, cool battle, yeah. And then at the very end, okay, big spoiler here, eventually, the Max and his people are dead ahead, but the train has run out of railway track. So they go out, and by incredible good luck, yes, in order to survive, you need skills. You also need a massive amount of luck in order to survive in this harsh world. Yeah, Max and his new friends find the very similar bloke that's similar to Gyro Captain, the aeroplane man, and say you're going to have to help us escape. If you don't, they'll kill us, and they'll kill you too. So the aeroplane man, although he starts out as a selfish thief, he decides to help them. Yeah, he does the decent thing. Plus, he doesn't have a choice. He has to help them, otherwise he's going to die as well, yeah. So the aeroplane man and his little son, they get in the aeroplane, they're get a load of rubbish. It has to be as light as possible. There's a problem. The plane can't take off because the desert buggies are too close. Between us and them, there's not enough runway. And Max says there will be. He's going to drive a car really fast, smash into them, give them enough runway so the airplane can take off. And it does. Is Max dead? They can't see. They can only see smoking remains of the vehicles. The airplane zooms off, goes to Sydney, all the smoking remains, or what's left of Sydney, and they decide to rebuild a society there. They are the children of the future, yeah. Does Max die? I think in an original version of the script he was supposed to die. You know, this was the end of the trilogy. Finish it, yeah. But an insurance policy in case they do a fourth one. Auntie, you know, has him. He can't go anywhere. He's surrounded by her minions. But she decides not to kill him. Because that, if she kills him, that won't bring the little man back. She doesn't gain anything out of it, so just leaves him, yeah. They never call him Max. And they never call him the Road Warrior. She just calls him Raggedy Man, you know. And then the bad guys zoom off. But you know it's Max because it's the title, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. But I don't know, maybe it would have been good if they'd called him Max at one point, you know, just to make it feel like a Mad Max film. I know he's meant to be strange and mysterious because he keeps meeting strangers all the time because he's nomadic. But they could have called him Max at least once. Anyway, called him Max lots of times in the first one. Anyway. At the end of the film, there's this shot of Max. He has no vehicle, nowhere to go. He's completely helpless, but at least he's alive, you know. And then it ends with Max wandering about in the desert, the wastelands. Now, in the second one, Max is given a choice at the end of the film. He could live with this society if he wanted to. No, he chooses to wander in the wastelands. At the end of this one, he wanders in the wastelands because he doesn't have a choice. No, he has nowhere else to go. So he has to, whether it's willing or not, Max ends up wandering in the wastelands, yeah. And the movie ends the way it began. The aeroplane man, you know, comes down and he's just a thief. But he, at the end of the film, he saves the goodies. So yes, it comes full circle. It started with the aeroplane man and ends with him, yeah. And yeah, the weird thing is, Max went for all that, fought in the Thunderdome, met this lost tribe civilization that worship aeroplanes or something. All this palaver because his possessions were stolen at the beginning of the film. Why didn't he just go to Bartertown, forget about the Thunderdome thing, and just do some work to earn some more possessions like that? Why this elaborate palaver? Well, because it's the principle, isn't it? They stole things that belong to me and I want them back. It's the principle, yeah. Okay, well, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome is not perfect, no, but I liked it, yes. I think it was very good. It raised some interesting issues, and it has some great action sequences, yeah. Could have been done a little better, but I like it. I think it does justice to the Mad Max myth, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.